I confessed my love to the hottest Dr. English love story. I went to the hospital for a minor injury, but I walked out completely love-struck. She wasn't just my doctor, she was the kind of woman you never forget. I knew I had no chance, but what happened next? I never saw it coming. Welcome to English Stories with Sherry. Grab a cozy seat and let's journey through magical tales, classic stories, and everyday adventures, all in English. Learning the language has never been this fun. She walked in with this calm, graceful energy that made the entire room pause for a moment. Her white coat flowed slightly behind her, her stethoscope loosely around her neck, and her smile, God, that smile instantly disarmed me. She looked like she had just stepped out of a medical drama. Confident, composed, and honestly way out of my league. Mr. Kapoor. She called, and I stood up like a soldier hearing his name from a commander. We walked into her office. She was gentle but efficient, asking me questions about my injury, checking my leg, and typing notes into her computer with perfect posture. I answered like a robot, trying not to sound stupid or stare for too long. But every time she looked at me, my brain just froze. It wasn't just that she was beautiful. She had this presence. The kind of warmth you feel even when she's saying something completely mundane. And as she spoke, I started noticing the little things: how she tucked her hair behind her ear while thinking, how she nodded slightly while listening, and how her eyes softened when she smiled. Over the next few weeks, I had to come in for follow-ups. I swear, every visit became the highlight of my week. I'd dress up, rehearse small talk in my head, and secretly hope our appointments would last just a few minutes longer. And slowly, we started talking more. She told me she worked insane hours and hardly got any sleep. I learned she was originally from a small town and had moved to the city for her residency. She loved jazz music and had a cat named Pluto. I even made her laugh once, like, really laugh. That felt like winning a lottery. I couldn't believe someone like her even remembered my name. At some point, it stopped being just a crush. It started feeling like something deeper. She wasn't just the hot doctor anymore. She was someone I genuinely admired. Someone I wanted to know outside of sterile white walls and fluorescent lights. But of course, I kept it to myself. I mean, what could I even say? Hey, I know you're a brilliant doctor who probably gets hit on all the time, but I think I'm falling for you because of the way you asked me about my calcium levels. Yeah, not happening. Still, something kept pulling me toward her. A month later, during my final follow-up, she smiled and said, "Looks like you're all healed. No more visits." That should have been a good thing. But I left the hospital feeling like something important had ended. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking, what if I never see her again? What if I let this go, and 5 years from now, I regret never saying how I felt? So, the next morning, I did something incredibly stupid, or maybe brave. I went back. I didn't have an appointment. I just waited outside the hospital, pacing back and forth like a teenager outside a crush's house. When I finally saw her stepping out for lunch, I froze. For a second, I considered turning around and walking away. But then she saw me. She looked surprised, then concerned. "Is everything okay?" I shook my head. "No. I mean, yes. But I needed to tell you something." She raised an eyebrow. "You're not injured again, are you?" "No," I laughed nervously. I couldn't leave without saying this." I took a breath. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear myself. "I think you're incredible. Not just as a doctor, but as a person. And I know it's probably the most unprofessional, unexpected thing to say, but I had to be honest. I think I'm falling for you." She didn't say anything for a few seconds. I braced myself for the worst: awkward silence, rejection, or maybe a gentle letdown. But instead, she smiled. A real, soft smile that reached her eyes. I was wondering when you'd say that. I blinked. Wait, what? She laughed. You think I didn't notice the extra cologne? The nervous small talk. The way you lingered before leaving my office? I just couldn't say anything first. But I've been hoping you'd come back. I couldn't believe it. We ended up grabbing coffee that same afternoon. And from that moment on, everything changed. She's still as dedicated and busy as ever, and I'm still the same slightly awkward guy who once limped into her office with a busted knee. But now, we get to share stolen moments between shifts, late-night conversations about everything and nothing, and quiet Sunday mornings with Pluto curled between us. I don't know what the future holds. But I do know this. Sometimes, the scariest things we say end up being the most important. And I'm so glad I didn't walk away. Thanks for listening to English Stories with Sherry. If you enjoyed today's tale, like, subscribe, and share with a friend learning English. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep learning, and keep listening.